This is a compelling and atmospheric introduction to your story, Everett. You've set up the vivid picture of both the landscape and the anticipation for your wilderness adventure with Nolan. The rugged wilderness of Montana and your expertise as an outdoorsman establish a strong foundation for what's to come. Your attention to detail, like packing a hunting rifle and bear spray, adds realism and a sense of preparation that will make the upcoming events even more intense. To enhance the readability and flow of your story, consider breaking up some of the longer paragraphs into shorter ones. This will make it easier for readers to follow and heighten the tension as you delve into the narrative. Let me know if you'd like help editing or polishing this further, or if you want to dive into the events that unfolded during the trip. I'm eager to see where this story leads, like burning embers in the dim forest light. The creature was a nightmare come to life, a predator that defied logic or explanation. My mind raced, struggling to process what I was seeing, even as my body moved on pure instinct. "Nolan, keep going!" I shouted, my voice hoarse with fear. The ground was uneven, littered with roots and rocks, and I prayed he wouldn't trip. My hunting rifle was still slung over my shoulder, but the thought of stopping to aim was out of the question. That thing was too fast. The growls grew louder, and I could hear branches snapping as it closed the gap between us. A primal terror clawed at my chest, but I forced myself to focus. We needed a plan, a chance to escape. "And to the left!" I yelled, veering toward a narrow ravine I remembered from the map. The terrain would slow it down, or so I hoped. Nolan followed, his footsteps uneven but determined. As we scrambled down the rocky slope, the creature's growl turned into a howl, a bone-chilling sound that echoed through the forest. At the bottom of the ravine, we paused for a split second to catch our breath. The air was thick with the stench of decay, and I could feel the creature's presence, even if I couldn't see it. My hand went to my rifle. I unslung it, fumbling with the safety as my fingers trembled. "Ev!" Nolan gasped, his eyes wide with terror. "Look, what? What the hell is that thing?" I don't know," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. "But it's hunting us. G'dah." The growl came again, this time closer. I raised the rifle, scanning the trees above us. The forest was eerily quiet. The usual sounds of birds and insects replaced by an oppressive silence. And then I saw it. Perched on the edge of the ravine, its glowing eyes fixed on us. It crouched low, muscles rippling beneath its matted fur, ready to pounce. "Get behind me," I heard Nolan. Steadying the rifle against my shoulder, my heart pounded in my ears as I aimed at the creature. It tilted its head, almost as if it were mocking me, and then it leapt. The shot rang out, deafening in the confined space of the ravine. The creature twisted in midair, letting out a piercing scream as the bullet struck its shoulder. It hit the ground hard, but recovered almost instantly, snarling and baring its teeth. Blood oozed from the wound, but if it was in pain, it didn't show it. "Run!" I shouted, firing again. The second shot went wide and the creature charged. Nolan took off and I followed, the rifle clutched tightly in my hands. The ravine narrowed, forcing us to climb up the other side. My legs burned and my lungs screamed for air, but I didn't dare stop. When we reached the top, we broke into a clearing. Our campsite was just ahead, the tent still standing, and the fire pit now cold. "Grab your pack," I barked, yanking mine off the ground and shoving the emergency beacon into Nolan's hands. "Activate this and keep moving." He fumbled with the device, his hands shaking so badly that it nearly slipped from his grasp. The creature burst into the clearing, its growls deeper and more menacing than ever. I raised the rifle again, forcing myself to breathe slowly as I aimed for its chest. The shot hit true. The creature staggered, its howl turning into a guttural roar of pain. "I don't know," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper, "but it's hunting us." The growl came again, this time closer. I raised the rifle, scanning the trees above us. The forest was eerily quiet. The usual sounds of birds and insects replaced by an oppressive silence. And then I saw it. Perched on the edge of the ravine, its glowing eyes fixed on us. It crouched low, muscles rippling beneath its matted fur, ready to pounce. "Get behind me," I ordered Nolan. Steadying the rifle against my shoulder, my heart pounded in my ears as I aimed at the creature. It tilted its head, almost as if it were mocking me, and then it leapt. The shot rang out, deafening in the confined space of the ravine. The creature twisted in midair, letting out a piercing scream as the bullet struck its shoulder. It hit the ground hard but recovered almost instantly, snarling and baring its teeth. "Run." "Yeah." I shouted, firing again. The second shot went wide and the creature charged. Nolan took off and I followed, the rifle clutched tightly in my hands. The ravine narrowed, forcing us to climb up the other side. My legs burned, and my lungs screamed for air, but I didn't dare stop. When we reached the top, we broke into a clearing. Our campsite was just ahead, the tent still standing, and the fire pit now cold. "Grab your pack," I barked, yanking mine off the ground and shoving the emergency beacon into Nolan's hands. "Activate this and keep moving." He fumbled with the device, his hands shaking so badly that it nearly slipped from his grasp. The creature burst into the clearing, its growls deeper and more menacing than ever. I raised the rifle again, forcing myself to breathe slowly as I aimed for its chest. The shot hit true. The creature staggered, its howl turning into a guttural roar of pain. "I know!" I gritted my teeth and pushed through the pain, grabbing the flashlight as I staggered to my feet. The smell was stronger now, almost overpowering, and I could hear the creature's growls just behind us. I turned briefly, my heart nearly stopping as I caught sight of its glowing eyes and massive, hunched form barreling toward us. "No time!" I yelled, shoving Nolan forward. "Go! Don't stop!" We ran, harder than I thought humanly possible. My injured ankle screaming with every step. The trailhead was close. I could feel it, but the growling grew louder. The creature's guttural breathing almost on top of us now. It was gaining. We burst into a clearing, and there it was, the parking lot, lit faintly by the moonlight. Our car was just ahead, a beacon of hope in the darkness, but I could hear the thing behind us, its footsteps pounding like thunder. Nolan reached the car first, fumbling with the keys. "Hurry, hurry, hurry," I screamed, my voice breaking. I could feel the creature closing in. I could almost feel its breath on my neck. The locks clicked open and Nolan yanked the door wide. I threw myself into the passenger seat, slamming the door as he dove in after me. The engine roared to life, and Nolan floored the gas pedal, gravel spraying as we sped down the dirt road. For a horrifying moment, I thought we wouldn't make it. I looked back and saw the creature standing in the middle of the road, illuminated briefly by the taillights. It let out an ear-splitting roar that echoed through the trees before vanishing into the darkness. We didn't stop driving till we were miles away, the wilderness far behind us. Only then did we allow ourselves to collapse in relief, the adrenaline draining from our bodies all at once. We sat in silence, trembling, trying to process what had just happened. "What the hell was that thing?" Nolan finally whispered, his voice shaking. I shook my head, unable to answer. The image of its glowing eyes and snarling muzzle was burned into my memory. "I don't know," I said quietly, "but whatever it was, it didn't belong out here. We never went back to that trail. Some secrets of the wilderness, we realized, were better left undiscovered." And, gesturing wildly toward the woods behind them, it didn't take long to understand why. The same guttural growl I had heard before echoed through the clearing, louder and angrier than ever. The creature had found new prey, or maybe it had never stopped hunting us. Without hesitation, I ran toward the group, shouting, "This way! There's a road!" My voice felt small against the sheer force of the growl behind us, but it was enough to get their attention. The woman locked eyes with me, nodded, and the three of them sprinted in my direction. We all ran together, a ragged group of terror-stricken strangers united by a single, primal need to survive. The lights grew closer, the promise of safety tantalizingly within reach. But the creature was gaining. I could feel its presence behind us, its hot, fetid breath cutting through the chill of the night air. Then came a deafening roar, closer than before, and a crashing sound as the creature barreled through the underbrush at the edge of the clearing. Oh, it was almost upon us. Go, go, one of the men shouted, turning and flinging his flashlight at the beast. The light struck its side, but barely slowed it down. It was enough, though, to buy us a few precious seconds. We stumbled out onto the road just as a pair of headlights rounded the bend. A pickup truck screeched to a halt, and the driver, a wide-eyed older man, leapt out. "What the hell is going on?" he demanded. But the fear in our faces was answer enough. "Drive! Now!" I shouted, throwing myself into the truck bed alongside the others. The driver hesitated for a fraction of a second before jumping back into the cab and flooring it. The tires squealed as the truck sped away, leaving the clearing and the creature behind. As the truck roared down the mountain road, I looked back. For a moment, I thought we were safe. Then in the rearview mirror, I saw it. The creature, silhouetted against the moonlit forest, standing at the edge of the road. It didn't chase us. It just stood there, watching, its glowing amber eyes burning into my soul. The ride back to town was silent, the air in the truck thick with unspoken fear. When we reached the nearest ranger station, we spilled out of the truck, babbling incoherent explanations to the bewildered rangers. They listened, skeptical but concerned, and immediately contacted the local sheriff. The next day, a search team combed the area. They found no sign of the creature, no tracks, no disturbed underbrush, nothing to substantiate our story. But I knew what I had seen. What we had seen. To this day, I don't know what that thing was. It wasn't an animal. It wasn't human. It was something. That other. Something that shouldn't exist. I've stopped going deep into the wilderness since that night. I still hike, but only on well-marked trails, always with a group, and never after dark. And sometimes the shadows are watching us back. Encounters in the wilderness that defied explanation. Shadowy figures glimpsed between the trees. Unearthly growls heard in the night. And yes, even accounts of a hulking creature with glowing eyes. Most of these stories were dismissed as hoaxes or the ramblings of overactive imaginations, but they resonated with me in a way that was both comforting and terrifying. I wasn't alone in my experience, but that also meant something was out there. Something that people didn't understand or perhaps didn't want to. Months passed, and though I tried to return to normal life, the encounter left a mark on me that wouldn't fade. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, haunted by dreams of being chased through the forest. My once beloved hiking gear gathered dust in the corner of my closet. Even trips to the park in broad daylight left me uneasy, my eyes constantly scanning the tree line for signs of movement. One evening, while scrolling through an online forum for unexplained phenomena, I came across a post that stopped me cold.